And hello everybody, and welcome to the final of the official Third Age Reforged Community Tournament. I hope you guys are all doing wonderful today, wherever you happen to be in the world. And yeah, we've come down to our final game between our top two teams. On one side, we have the very victorious Vislak and Fluffy Duck, who, as far as I know, haven't really been playing a whole lot of the patch, but they have still found themselves nonetheless in our finals today. And then, of course, we have Mech Starling alongside Crimson Behelit, one of our developers, who is going to be making up the other competing champion team today. And they have done very well today, especially with the combination of Rohan and Khan, which it doesn't look like we're going to be seeing this time around. Looks like Starling's going to be playing one of his favorite factions, that being the Woodland Realm. And Crimson Behelit's going to be trying something new. I have not seen him play Mordor yet, but he is... Oh, well, it looks like he's switching, so maybe we'll get into that in a little bit later. But Fluffy Duck reprising his role as commander of the Haradrim, and he's been playing a lot of Harad today. I don't think I've seen him play a single game where he wasn't playing as Harad, so he's got a good thing going, doesn't want to change it. Vislak is going to be switching it up a little bit, though. I have seen him play as Khand. In fact, I've seen both of the two supporting players, Vislak and Crimson Behelit, play as Khand today, so it'll be interesting to see what he ends up ultimately going with. But Lindon against these kinds of factions, that's a really interesting. It's a really interesting matchup. Lindon and Rudar both obviously very heavy on their mid-range skirmish, a lot of javelins, a lot of throwing axes. Lindon, however, unlike many of the Elven factions, does have a lot of numbers as well, and Rudar is one of the more numerous, I should say, Manish factions, definitely rivaling the Orcs in terms of numbers. That'll be an interesting matchup. And then, of course, we've got the lightly armored Haradrim, who are going to be on the same field as the missile-heavy Woodland Realm. So I guess time will tell whether or not that is going to be a prudent decision for Fluffy Duck to keep going with the faction that he's had so much success with this far into the tournament. But yeah, ultimately we'll see exactly what both factions do to kind of overcome their weaknesses here. Because of course, Lindon is also they can struggle sometimes against the Woodland Realm as well, given that they are quite lightly armored. So Woodland Realm is a strong pick against a Haradrim build, and even, yeah, indeed, against Lindon. And I expect that if Crimson Behelit and Starling have been paying any attention throughout this tournament, they would know that Fluffy has consistently took the Haradrim. So I'm pretty sure there's some strategy there in their decision to bring the Woodland Realm and reserve them as their first pick. But in any case, I think I got all my stuff together. Hopefully I'm not holding anybody up. No, it's going to be a little while now before our contestants have finally locked in their army. So we're going to yeah, we'll sit here and we'll chat a little bit. Let's see how Chad is doing today. How's it going there, Red Rattler? Have you been enjoying the tournament so far? Looks like our admin himself, Joey, has decided to join us on Twitch today. Hello, Joey. How's it going? So, Chad, let me ask you, if you've been following the tournament so far, what do you think of the final two teams we got here? Do you think this is going to be a good fight? Who do you think is going to be the one that comes out victorious here, given the faction matchups that we can see? How's it going there, Stranger Wings? You enjoying the tournament so far? Yeah, we have one for Vislak and Fluffy Duck. They've been very strong. I have to say, I was surprised but pleased by their performance, of course. I know they haven't been doing a ton of practicing, and a lot of the other teams have, and they really just came in like a wrecking ball and swept aside a lot of the competition. Of course, we had some issues with no-shows earlier on, and that definitely contributes to a lot of the meteoric rise of a lot of the teams through the ranks. But Vislak and Fluffy Duck, I think, have done as many games as you can possibly do. They even did a bonus game against a challenging war team. One of the competitors that was previously eliminated was allowed an opportunity to return thanks to their graciousness, and battle them for the semifinal spot. And yeah, they beat them. They've beaten everybody that's been put in front of them by a reasonably handy margin so far. So I have to say, I'm very impressed. And some of the games that I've seen from Crimson Behelit and Starling today, also very strong. It really shows that these two have been practicing together a lot. Fantastic teamwork, always going out of their way to try and surround their enemies and always keep their opponents on the back foot, keep them on the defensive. Very aggressive builds, usually very missile heavy. So interesting. I don't think we're going to see too much of a departure from that with the Woodland Realm, but with Rudauer, that's going to be That's an interesting pick to bring alongside the Woodland Realm. They do complement each other quite nicely. The Woodland Realm, of course, have the long-range superiority with their exceptional bowmen, but Rudar has the numbers. They have some decent bowmen, but they've also got some very, very strong mid-range skirmish. So once it comes down to a close quarters fight, Lindon versus Rudar, that's going to be a tough one. Lindon very much focused on formation fighting. Obviously, they're going to be stacking a lot of units on top of each other because that is how Lindon is at its best, and that's how they protect their more important assets, especially their lightly armored pike units. Their higher tier ones, don't think they have more than 6 armor, can be very, very vulnerable to Woodland Realm missiles, so we're going to see a lot of units stacking there, and I think that alone is going to lend itself to Rudar's style of fighting, that very, very shock-oriented. They just bomb an area with missiles and charge through any gaps that they create. It looks like we have some of the previous competitors in the chat as well. Hey, Lango, how's it going, buddy? Lango, I believe, faced off. Was it against Fluffy Duck? No, I think it was against Kuro and his ally Dwelling, unless I'm mistaken. No, actually, they were playing against him and his ally Gondorian Smith. I believe played against Starling and Crimson Bahelite in the last match. And not too sure how it went, but obviously didn't go too well for them. Yeah, Woodland and Rohan. I remember watching some of that game. It looked pretty tough. I missed the middle part, but the early stages it was looking very, very skirmish heavy. Let's see, we have a prognosis here. Lindon support is a beast, and Harad will rush so Lindon can support with more skirmishers. Harad. Starling will get attacked and killed very fast. Rudauer might put up a better fight against them, but still lose. Well, that depends. Woodland Realm does have the tools to shut down a Haradrim rush. They've got, well, a lot of the Haradrim units really, a lot of their strength comes from their ability to do a lot of damage with their AP. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Hopefully I didn't crash their game here. And the Woodland Realm have exceptionally high melee defense and better than average numbers. So they're up there with Lindon in terms of numbers. So I don't think that a Haradrim rush will be quite the sweep that you think it is. But it's entirely possible. It really comes down to how the players use their units, of course, as any game would. I hope you guys are enjoying the crowd that I've brought to see us into this final game here. A massive amount of civilians. We're going to go and we're going to park them at a reasonably safe distance away from everybody else. But they're all nestled in with their snacks, their chips, and their popcorn. And I certainly hope you guys are doing the same. Now it's going to be a little bit of time here between when the contestants are ready to go. So let's continue our conversation here. Starling will get attacked and killed very fast. Rudar might put up a better fight against them, but still lose. I don't know. They're both very lightly armored factions, and there's definitely a missile advantage here that I would give to the to Crimson and Starling's side. So I feel like it could go either way. Yeah, watch me crash halfway through and ruin the finals for everybody. At like the decisive moment when you're not quite sure, but it's leaning in favor of one side. That way, you know, the salt is real. Maybe I'll be able to win this one with my full army of civilians at the end. We'll just mob them, and then I'll... That's the surprise ending. Like the Shyamalan-esque twist is that I actually win the tournament. Congrats, Jordan. Best player, North America. Yeah, regrettably, my presence here does kind of screw up the deployment a little bit. Yeah, see, nobody's very happy about it, but they were perfectly fine with it the last game, so I'm sure they'll get over it. Now, the only reason I could imagine that would bother them is if potentially they had a rush army planned, which I don't know. Maybe that's what we're gonna see. Maybe we're gonna see Alison's like prognosis come true here. His prophecy, rather. Oh, you want a PUBG tourney today? Fuck yeah. Congrats, Joey. Did you kill what's his name? The colored hair guy who likes to rage quit? Oh no, that's never mind. He plays Fortnite, Ninja or whatever his name is. You won a Fortnite game? Congratulations. My nephew wins Fortnite games, and he's like 12, so you gotta be proud about that. It doesn't say anything good about him, Ponderous Beetle. It says nothing good. That's how it is, hey Joey? Oh, I guess I should have hit start. It's a good thing I wasn't holding anybody up, otherwise I'd be in a lot of trouble. Kuro holds the power. Well, technically Joey holds the power. He's the one you want to suck up to. Exactly. Who's Kuro? Oh, they're definitely taking their time, being cautious with their deployment here. So what does chat think? Do you think we're going to see a rush build today, and that's why Fluffy is particularly ornery about the deployment zones? It's entirely possible. I've seen them play a rush build with Harad today. Surprisingly enough, a big rush with minimal amount of cavalry, built 3 cavalry and a ton of Haradrim pikes, and I think a lot of trollmen as well to support the other army. Honestly, Fluffy is never happy, so I'm used to it, Computanti. The factions we have today are, I believe, Harad and Lindon on one side, that being Fluffy Duck and Vislak's team, their factions respectively, and on the other side we have Crimson Behelit and Starling. Starling's going to be playing as... hold on. Let me think here. Starling is the Woodland Realm, and Crimson Behelit is going to be playing as Rudour, which is a faction I've seen him use at least... this would be the 3rd time today. And I know Starling is very familiar with the Woodland Realm as well. So it seems like most of the players are very much inside of their comfort zone. I haven't seen Vislak play a lot of Lindon, but Lindon is relatively straightforward. You point your javelins at things and watch them evaporate, and Fluffy has basically played Harad throughout the entirety of the tournament. So we're seeing all the players in a comfortable position, I think, today. Let's see what Fluffy Duck has brought. A ton of the Southron Warband here. I've been making up his front line, very similar to his build from earlier today. The Haradrim Warband, it is important to note, are AP, which is a nice thing to have, although not necessarily as useful against a faction like Woodland Realm or against Rudour, for example, who just doesn't have a whole lot of armor in general. A little bit superfluous, but we're looking at, I think, about 6 units here, the full complement of the Southron Warband. Also got a couple units of the Trollmen here. One here and one over there, who are fear-causing units. Very, very scary. Also AP as well. I think we got some Muhad warriors who are... they're alright. They're like a mid-range kind of swordsman. A bunch of AP pikes as well. AP pikes are just deadly. Doesn't matter who you use them against. And we got some Champions of Nafarat, which is going to be where Fluffy Duck's General's hanging out. Very, very sexy Haradrim Warlord model there, which I think it was done by the Reforged team, but I could be wrong about that, so, you know, don't quote me. And if you happen to be out there in the audience and you created that particular model, you know, don't sue us. We don't have any money anyway. He's also got a couple unit of the Serpent Guard and 1 unit of the very deadly, very elegant Black Serpent Bodyguard. A lot of fast-moving, hard-hitting cav here. He's also got some Chaff Spearmen, and I don't think he's got any archers. Yeah, this is almost identical to the build that I saw him use earlier, which is full infantry, and he's going to be relying on the skirmish power of Lindon, which is an interesting choice. Lindon is, as Elven factions go, they're a little bit later on the skirmish end of things. This time I'm not walking into an obvious trap. Yeah. He's also, this is Vislak's army here, playing as Lindon, of course. Got some Harlan infantry, very, very cost-effective units. They are capped at 5 now, previously capped at 6. They are now capped at 5 in the new HOTFIX build we are playing on. Also got a ton of pikes here. The 4 Lindon, I believe these are the 4 Lindon pikemen. Extremely cost-efficient, but very lightly armored, easy to kill. And of course, the mid-range skirmish. It would not be Lindon without a ton of javelins. A couple units there of the Mythlon Marines, and 2 units of the Forlindon Marines. Out on his wing, he's got... Oh, I love this unit. This is my new favorite unit in Linden because it just epitomizes everything that this faction is about. They are a archer hybrid unit, but they are also a spear cavalry unit. So they can be used to side down infantry or heavy cavalry or whatever you can get your dirty elven claws into. But after they use their ammunition, well, they're actually really useful as an anti-cav unit. So probably one of the most useful hybrid units in the game, at least in my opinion. Second unit over there. I don't think he's got any Noldor Horse Lords. Actually, no, I'm totally wrong. He has them right here. A really strong knight unit, a little bit more lightly armored, about 9 armor, but they have no shield. So definitely more vulnerable to arrows, as I suppose would befit the faction of Lindon in general. Let's take a look at what the Woodland Realm has brought today. At least what we can see. I mean, there's bound. Obviously, look at this. This is a tiny little army. There's some hidden stuff in here. He's probably got some Hethely Tower hanging around somewhere here with a dual-wielding axe unit. Very, very strong. Not a lot of armor, though, but some really nice melee defense and some really strong offensive capabilities as well, and a high charge bonus. A couple units of the Elven Javelins. Oh, some nasty mid-range skirmish here, and that's going to be in addition to the Root Hour stuff, which we'll take a look at in just a moment. Front line being composed of, I believe these are the Thandrim Erin, which is a spear unit. They got a little bit of a nerf in this patch, mostly to their, I believe, their defense value, their melee defense value, so their ability to defend themselves against incoming attacks in close quarters. But still, all around a very strong unit, very cost-effective as you would expect from the Elven low tiers. Looks like we got the full complement of the Spear Cav here. These are the, God, I can't remember what their Elven name is. It's like Lechbin, Roeshbin, Yaman Lank, or something like that. But they are a Spear Cav unit. Very, very useful taking down other cavalry. And over here we have the Yara Brennan Inandorian, or something like that, which is they're just the Pathfinders on steroids, basically. 2 HP, a lot more damage, and some stronger anti-cavalry bonuses as well. We got 2 units here. Wow. I guess we only have 1 unit of Pathfinder. So we got 1 unit of Pathfinder, 1 unit of the Pathfinder Bodyguard, and a couple units of the Dagnirim I Urich, or something like that. I don't remember the Elven name for it, but they're previously the Elder Reavers. Very, very strong bow cavalry unit. Probably one of the better bow cav units in the game, given how much range they have and how accurate they are. Wood Elven archers are just slightly a little bit above your average Elven archer, so yeah, very, very deadly unit right there. And naturally there's going to be some hidden units in here as well. I'm expecting a unit of rangers as well. Things like the Delupeng Yemendui or something like that. But let's move on now to Root Hour. We've got a unit, I can never remember the name of these guys. They used to be the Root Hour Slaughterers. I think now they are the Forundrum Javelins. They have the ability to hide everywhere, and they are 2 HP, the trade-off for that being that they are extremely, extremely lightly armored and easily whittled down by even the most basic of bow units. Got some Root Hour Swordsmen as well, some Hereditine Pikes in front. I think these are the Dunman Hunters, and it's probably got a unit of the Marksmen around somewhere. It's got some Hereditine Rangers as well. Really, really nice pick against a unit, or against a faction rather, like Harad or like Lindon. That is going to be an absolutely high priority target for Vislak and Fluffy Duck to try and take out as quickly as possible. Otherwise, these guys will inflict some serious damage and pay for themselves really quickly. It looks like we've missed some Elven units over here as well. I think that's 1 unit of the Hiri Peng Heavy Archers. But yeah, more Root Hour Swordsmen. Got some Pikes. Yeah, more Pikes. A ton of units that are slowly walking in over here. Honestly, they're so spread out that it might almost be worth it to use some of that cavalry to try and harass these guys. Although Crimson Behelit has wisely kept his cavalry in a strong supporting position. Got a couple units here of the Dunman Scouts. I believe there's two units of the Dunman Scouts, and a couple units of the Root Hour Maidens as well, who, again, are a really strong hybrid unit. They are a Jav Cav unit, but they are also a decent anti-cavalry counter after the fact as well. And then finally we got a 6th unit of cavalry. A lot of cavalry here. It looks like they're going to try and win a cavalry fight. That's going to be... it really seems to be where a lot of their killing power is centered right now. Mostly Starling's cavalry are for support, and Crimson Behelites are the heavy hitters. And here in front of us we have the Root Hour Nobles, who are very, very strong. We got some trash talk going on in the chat here. Let's see. You can go fuck yourself, Starling, with your hidden units. Yeah, see, Fluffy knows what's afoot as well. There's definitely some hidden units there. Yeah, we'll talk about ambushes a little bit later when we have some time. Looks like there's going to be a lot of posturing, so we'll have some time for some chitter chatter. But in any case, the Rudauer Nobles are a knight unit. They are among the more lightly armored knights, but they are AP, both on the charge and in melee. Very, very deadly, and great for crunching through heavy armor. Well, there's not a lot of heavy armor across the field, but still, they have a devastating charge that's going to be useful. Got some Black Wolves here. Got a little bit of a nerf to their numbers. Still a very useful unit. And we've got some Rudauer Axemen, who this is a very similar build to what I've seen him, seen Crimson Bahili use earlier in the day against Kurogoro-chan and against his ally Dwalling. He's got at least 3 hidden units here. So one of them is going to be the Rudauer, well, these guys. He's going to have the Black Wolves, and he's going to have the Rudauer Axemen all in the same control group, which to me says he's going to try and use them all at once as in like a sudden assault, try and overwhelm a wing or something like that. Use them at an opportune moment. But I think that's just about all we got. But yeah, Starling definitely hiding some things. And where'd the rest of his army go? Yeah, they're over here. And that's one of the things that makes ambushes very difficult in Medieval 2. The second you move anything around on the map, your opponent will see it right away, and they will home in on that, and they will make a mental note, and you will never be able to hide that unit again, use it the same effect, unless you manage to like hold onto it for such a long time in the battle, and that it might not even be worth it at that point. So you really need to be kind of cautious about what units that you intend to hide and things like that if you're planning on drawing your enemies into an ambush. And it kind of that's kind of a strength of the Woodland Realm, is their ability to surprise people with numbers that just come out of the woodwork. So yeah, you really got to be careful about what it is that you hide. But it looks like we're gonna have some posturing here for quite some time, and I think we're gonna see them set up and try and match each other in line. So that's gonna take a little while. So let's go and take a look at chat. So the factions are Rudauer and Woodland Realm on one side, and that's going to be Crimson and Starling's team. And across the field there is Linden and Harad as well. So it's an interesting mix-up. Yeah, we have another one for Harad. I don't know. What do you think, Stove? What's going on, Crazy Minds? I think a good Lindon build in a 2v2 or 1v1 is 2 Wardens of Harlandon, 1 Nolar Horse Lords, 4 Harlandon Pikes, 2 Myth Pikes, 2 Wardens of Harlandon mounted. I assume by the 2 Wardens of Harlandon, the unmounted version, you mean the Harlandon Guard. And 1 Ranger unit. Never got to see the message. Yeah, it seems like Vislik has a fairly similar build to that, in that he's got a similar amount of Harlandon mounted Wardens, and he's got the Harlandon Infantry, and he's got the Pikes as well. But yeah, it's a decent enough build. But in this case, some shielded units were definitely necessary. As many as you can get your hands on. Looks like we're going to have something of an extended stalemate. Looks like Fluffy is shifting his cavalry over to the far right wing. Possibly in response to the fact that there is very little cavalry hidden over here right now. Or visible in any case over here right now. Yeah, Fluffy is using the exact same comp again that he used against you, and Bahlid is using the same comp as Rudauer that I've seen him use a couple times today. So everyone they're going with what they know. It's the finals. Of course, they're going to be. It takes a very brave person to play in a tournament for 10 hours and then be willing to just let all of that ride on a build or a faction that you're not terribly familiar with. Let's see what we got going on here. Crimson's cavalry shifting over to the other end en masse, in fact. Yeah, he's just going to move everything over there. Maybe. Let's see. Starling's cavalry so far hasn't moved, but that's going to put all of their cavalry onto their left wing. So they could be setting up for a decisive cavalry engagement over on their left. But, I don't know. I feel like Harad and Lindon could fend off most of their cavalry with a couple units of Serpent Guard and a couple units of the Horse Archers, and then still have their 2 bodyguard units to wreak havoc on the other side, where they're going to be a little bit less defended. Although it looks like maybe Mirkwood has moved, or at least has strategically placed their cavalry over here, so maybe that won't be as viable as an option. But yeah, it is definitely a risk when you put everything on one wing like that. ban them for camping. We decided not to do any rules like that this time around. Our first tournament, actually, the first one that we ever did, and the first one I ever played in, was there was rules about camping and about boxing. Like if you got slightly into a shape with your formation resembling anything that could be considered a box, you got a warning immediately. But yeah, it's a new patch and it's a new world. We have a lot less restrictions. There's a lot more freedom and kind of, yeah, just freedom is probably a good word for it in terms of how you want to fight your game. So yeah, no, we can't ban them for that. Once you join the server, you enter an agreement. I'm now property of Joey. Oh boy, is that what I am? Oh, it's like a little bit of network problems there. Nah, he's alright. Yeah, all things considered, it's actually running really, really smoothly. I wonder if I should, like, yeah, I'm gonna move my horde of civilians a little bit closer. Everyone wants to, they want to get better seats for the showdown. We got some time, so we'll walk them up there. Gotta be careful not to get too close, though. We don't want to make the contestants feel a little bit nervous. Jordan, where's your ad revenue? I don't know. I barely stream on Twitch, honestly. I stream on Twitch, like, maybe 2 or 3 times every as many months. Jordan got demonetized. You know, I actually haven't been demonetized for quite some time. It's been quite a nice thing. I've been being all risque. I put battle in a title the other day and I didn't get demonetized. So maybe YouTube has finally got their shit together. Not that you make much money off of YouTube anyway. Whew, it's a good thing I have a real job. But all 20 civilians in the middle of the 2 teams. You know, that would be some wonderful trolling, but I think at this point it's really late for everybody, and that joke would definitely not be received in the spirit in which it was intended. I think that would just piss everybody off, and then Cannon Fodder would come and take over. Let's see what we got going on here. Say fuck once and you'll get demonetized. You know what? I swore a lot in one of my videos. I swore twice. It was crazy. I don't know what I was thinking. Young and reckless, I guess. But yeah, didn't get demonetized. But anyway, forget about YouTube and demonetization and all that shit. Oh shit, we just got demonetized. Let's see what both teams are doing. Well, they seem very keen to kind of hold their position. Yeah, neither side in terms of composition has a clear, obvious, overwhelming advantage over the other. If either side were to just kind of run in at each other, just, you know, like the end of Braveheart, just run across the field and charge down your enemy, I think that the side that did that would get slaughtered. So we're probably going to see a lot more of this this maneuvering and this posturing for the time being. I know Crimson and Starling are definitely cautious when it comes to how they play their games. So from them especially, I expect to see a lot of very slow and considered advances, whereas Vislak and Fluffy, I don't know. I mean, when it comes down to this, you have to bear in mind that all the players have been playing for basically 10 hours at this point. This has been going on since, like, I was up at 3 a.m. to get this organized, and it is now nearly 3 o'clock. So it's nearly been 12 hours of tournament at this point. And, yeah, you really have to consider that will come a point when the players just want to get it over with, and they're just going to go for it. And perhaps that point has been reached here. It looks like Fluffy is now repositioning his entire army, which is risky. It's a big ponderous force, and of course, if the Rudar cavalry were to rush him down, might be able to do pretty well for themselves. But we'll see. What do we got over here? Some knights going to rejoin their brothers on the left wing. Looks like either he's lengthening his line or he's moving his entire force a little bit over, which will open up a gap in their line, but anything that goes through this gap is going to get butchered anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. 3 fucking a.m. Hang me, please. Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. He's doing pretty well. He's commentated for half an hour and nothing's happened. Honestly, I thank my university for that. I got the art of writing a paper and padding your word count. You can say 1,000 things and not actually say anything new. Like 1,000 words and not say anything new. So that's where that comes from. That's the skill set that I learned in school. And looks like Behelid is now shifting his forces over to match the lengthening of Fluffy's line. We got a general kind of sally here from the entire force of cavalry from Crimson Behelid. This is very, very bold. I don't really think that the rest of their forces are in a position to capitalize on any gains that these units might make. And he's charging into a wall of spears, so I'm not too sure what's going on here. It may be that the lack of action is a little bit frustrating. What do we got here? Now, the Root Hour Maidens do have javelins, but there's no real obvious and juicy target, although, of course, Fluffy doesn't have any archer support, except maybe a unit of rangers. If memory serves, he will have a unit of rangers hiding around in here somewhere, some Hashari Stalkers, I believe they're called. And, yeah, but until they show their faces, Crimson really has nothing to fear from stationing his cavalry this close. Maybe he's trying to bait Fluffy out, but I don't think that's going to work against Fluffy. I mean, in this case, it's a very obvious tactic, and he doesn't really have anything that can induce him to move forward. Although, if he gets a little bit too close, I mean, in the game that I saw earlier between Soph and War Celtic and this particular team, Fluffy was very aggressive with his cavalry, and it kind of caught the other player off guard a little bit. He did manage to catch even the very swift horse archers with his foot spears, which is yeah, which is definitely not something you want to have happen. What we got here? I thought there was a gap opened up sufficiently large for a unit of cavalry to maybe swoop through, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what the purpose of this is. You may just be trying to move Fluffy around a little bit, just kind of poking and prodding, looking for any potential openings, kind of seeing, I guess, what his enemy is made out of. Because I don't think that, like I said, Vistek and Fluffy don't really play this all that much, so I don't think they have a ton of experience playing against these two particular players. So maybe at this point in the game, each side is just trying to see what the other is made of, sussing out their ability to micro and react to threats and things like that. They should charge and say screw tactics. You know, as fun as that would be, I don't think anyone really wants to do that. Well, let's see here. Now, a potential tactic. Oh, looks like we had some Elder, not the Elder Palace Guard, but it's the bow axe combination, who are pretty damn good. Really strong heavy archers. They are also very deadly in melee as well. A little bit less ammunition, however, so not the same kind of longevity as, say, the Lindon archers. But they have a very clear advantage here, I think, in skirmishers. So I think if anyone's going to be able to make the first move, it is going to be Mirkwood, and it's going to be Rudour. Now, obviously, there are dangers associated with that. Once they get into range and they start pecking away at Fluffy's units, he's really going to have no choice but to move forward. I mean, he could move back, but there's no point to that. So I think the immediate reaction is going to be to charge forward, which is always a problem when you're the elves. Especially as Mirkwood, a lot of your strength comes from your skirmishers. So if you can pull people into an extended skirmish fight, especially Harad, if Harad commits to an extended skirmish fight with Woodland, and Woodland has a sufficient amount of archers, I think that is going to go to Woodland basically any day of the week. But at this point, there's not really anything that either side can do right now. Yeah, Fluffy's actually right on the border right now. I guess that was the plan here, trying to limit the movement of his enemy's cavalry. They have a lot of cavalry, and you know it's a smart plan to follow through on, but it doesn't really seem to be appreciated by the other side. A little bit more trash talk here, but yeah, I think it's going to be ultimately, once the players realize it, it's going to come down to Behelid and Starling to make the first move here, and they've got the ability to do it and to do well. Of course, as I was mentioning, Harad is going to have to move forward, and Lindon is obviously going to move in and try and support them. But that is something that you can plan for. That's something that you can see coming, and yeah, at that point you're making a battle on your terms, so you can plan for any kind of eventualities like a sudden charge and things like that. Definitely a lot of cavalry here that could be very useful in that kind of situation. Although of course there is a front line of spears, but there's some fairly expendable cavalry there, along with some useful ones. So if we were to use the Dunman Scouts, for example, to blow holes basically in an advancing battalion of the Southern Warband, that's a fair trade, at least in my mind. Yeah, a little bit more shifting back and forth here. Let's see what's going on. Chat is going wild here. Do I have to moderate you people? Come on. I mean, if you want to donate the 3 potatoes, I actually have a donate button down down below, Sid, so you can help me out. Yeah, more and more shifting back and forth, and ultimately, yes, indeed, we are going to see the Archers of Rudar move forward. Now, he's going to want to be careful about this. I mean, honestly, I would bring the elves forward first and use them to pull your enemy forward. Now, obviously, you don't want to use the elven ammunition early on in the game. That's a lot of killing power from the Woodland Realm that would be gone and you wouldn't have into the late game. And of course, the elves have a little bit less ammunition to balance the fact that they do hit harder and they are able to shoot you more accurately at longer ranges. But I think it would be a better idea, at least in my personal opinion, to use the Rudara forces as support, use their numbers as support, which is what they're going to be best at, and yeah, not overextend yourself too much, because of course there is the Haradrim cavalry over here to contend with, and they are extremely fast, extremely swift. It looks like Fluffy's going to be moving forward with a unit here of his Haradrim spears. Now, if these units get destroyed, that is going to open up a gap in Fluffy's line, and either he'll have to cover that with more Southron spearmen, which is going to spread his line even thinner, or he's going to have to just leave it open and use his cavalry to cover that that hole. What do we got here? Rudar Hunters really just giving it to these Haradrim spearmen, not doing quite as much damage as I think you would expect them to, but then they are shielded units, and this is from the front. Even though they are quite low-level spearmen, they will stand up to it reasonably well. Hard to tell if they're about to rout, however. I'm not nearly close enough with my units, so it looks like those Dunman Hunters are going to get pulled back, but they are going to get caught. Clipped a little bit there. I think we'll see a few of them go down, but nothing terribly important. But I don't think there's any infantry over here, is there? Oh yeah, there's some Rudar swordsmen that are nearby. I don't see that that's ill-fated Sally is not going to start falling back. No, Fluffy's going to turn them around, reform, and go for the second unit of those Dunman Hunters. And I think now is a good time to... What do we got here? Yeah, no, I would pull these guys back. This is a waste of your archers' lives, in my opinion, especially not when you have Rudar swordsmen nearby. And these guys are completely and utterly unsupported. A charge from the Rudar swordsmen, those 2 units there, they could very easily surround them, and that would be basically game over. And you can defend that blob with your archers and with the rest of your cavalry, so it's not like Harad is going to be able to suddenly sally forth on a blob of Rudar swordsmen and destroy them utterly. Yeah, this is wasting your archers' lives. I think, yeah. Commit with something a little bit more serious. And looks like that's what Crimson Behelid is about to do. Bringing in his Rudar swordsman. That's enfilading fire from that supporting unit of the Dunman Hunters. Really, really nasty. And it looks like ultimately enough to break them. Yeah, from the looks of things, these Haradrim spearmen have actually broken. There's enough of them, though. They will probably reform. But it does have the advantage of wasting a little bit of ammunition on a unit that is not terribly important as well. Which is definitely why I would favor using my swordsmen over my my archer companies, because I think that the archers that they have it's the biggest advantage they have here. Ooh, what do you know? We've got some these are the Wardens of Elastirion, who are nearby, being an absolute pain. They're firing into the Rudar swordsmen. Oh, maybe that was the plan all along. Use these guys as a diversion, try and get Crimson Behelit to commit his swordsmen. If he had done that, honestly, it would have ended up being an error. So you know what? I will put my foot firmly in my mouth. Yeah, those white cloaks. When you see them, you know it means trouble. It's not surrender. It's death is on the way. Well, still a few shots coming in. Some parting gifts from the Radar Bowman. Yeah, Wardens of Elastirian now moving forward. Now these guys are a ranger unit, and they are Elven Rangers, so they hit a little bit harder. And these guys have incredible accuracy as well, far above any other ranger units. So for that reason, they are a bit more expensive. They're also way better in melee as well. But being rangers, they only have 14 ammunition. It was dropped quite precipitously in the hotfix, down from I believe 22 or 24 to 14. So they lost a ton of ammo, and that is to balance out the fact that rangers can kick so much ass when used well. Even with 14 ammunition, people unfailingly will bring rangers in their games because they can just do so much damage, especially against lightly armored troops. Now this is interesting. That one unit of Spearman really gave them a lot of trouble, and it seemed like it was really kind of testing Bahelit's micro a little bit. He's got a lot of moving pieces in his army, and these are the kind of armies that he really likes to play. His last game as a Rohan, I don't think I've ever seen that many skirmishers in a Rohan army before, except maybe in the game that Celtic and Soph played against the same Visak Fluffy Duck team. But like I said, it's got a lot of moving parts, and it can be difficult to micro, especially with large units like this and these long, kind of strung out spaghetti lines. Very useful for avoiding incoming arrow fire, not so great for maneuverability. Oh, my bad, guys. Let's see, it looks like Lindon is moving forward. I missed some of their units here. We got some Noldor and Guard in the mix as well. Very important unit. They inspire units around them. Keep the Elves of Lindon in the fight a little bit longer. And that's just one unit of them. So it looks like... what we got out here? A couple units of the... I can't remember what these guys are called. It's something E-Tower. Very, very strong low-tier bow unit for the Woodland Realm. Able to hide anywhere. They are a little bit more expensive to balance out that fact. Looks like they're focusing on Visak's center right now, trying to do some damage to the Harladon infantry. I do not blame him. They are definitely a match for the Thandra Miedin, and they are in greater numbers as well. So if Vislak, Vislak's gonna get a nice piece of those guys right there. Oh, now's the time to try and follow these guys back. Otherwise, the Noldor and Horse Lords are gonna run right through them, and looks like they're gonna connect. Oh, they're gonna get away. So might not do as much damage. That Spear Cav unit coming in. We don't want to get too close now. Now I think is a good time to fall back. Absolutely. Over here we go. Looks like the Wardens of Harlandon exchanging blows here with the Elder Reavers. Now, these guys have the edge in close quarters as well. As I mentioned earlier, they are a Spear Cav unit after the fact. So if they get in there, amongst the Elder Reavers, and they are going to connect... That's not gonna pay any dividends for the Woodland Realm at all. And looks like things are getting ugly over on this side as well. Harad sallying forward with all of their mighty infantry power. And it's looking like this wing could very easily be overwhelmed by just the sheer weight of the Haradrim numbers. Let's pop back on over here to where the action is. These I can't remember what they're called. These hidden units here. These Elven Archers are gonna have to fall back now in haste behind the friendly companies of Thandra Miedin. Out in the field, Starling's cavalry is really having a bad day, especially against those Noldor and Horse Lords. Now that the Harlandon infantry have joined the battle as well, this is not going to be good. Wardens of Harlandon pursuing the Elder Reavers relentlessly.
Without him, his troops will lose their will to
Well,
fight.
I didn't kill anybody's enemy general. Whose general just went down? It might have been Starling's. Yes, indeed it was. Oh, that is a big blow to their morale. Oh, now this unit is behind the lines, and there's really nothing that Starling can do about it. And they are just pursuing these expensive bow cav units all the way into the back of the Woodland Realm lines. This is really not looking great for them. He's going to have to commit infantry. Infantry is the bane of cavalry units like this. They do not do well against infantry at all. In fact, they have a passive -4 penalty against them. So yeah, definitely a And definitely the only counter, I think, here is these archers in close quarters. Let's see how things are going on the main line. Ooh, those spears are having a bad time, as I knew they would. The pikes now moving in to support their Harlandon infantry. And Starling's lines are, oh, they are in so much danger of being overwhelmed. Look at this. Look at all these Jav units coming in on Starling's flank. He is doomed. Oh, this is going to be really, really ugly. But before we miss it, let's pop back over onto this end, where the Haradrim are not doing quite as well. They seem to have basically advanced into a well-prepared killing zone here by Rudour. Now, we're going to come back and take a look at that in a second because I want to see what happens here. Oh, those Elven archers doing their best to try and thin out the ranks. But here it is. Beautiful enfilading fire all along the line into the Thandrimiedin, and that is going to collapse Starling's right wing in a real hurry. And there's still enough leftover javelins to toss their jabs here at these Elven jabs. Indeed, that is what they are called. Everyone else has an Elven name in, like, Sindarin, but no, these are the Elven jabs. What up? Now, that loose formation is going to stand them in fairly good stead. And you can see that Vislak's forces are taking a very huge beating right now. But, yeah, this is the best move I think that the Bahelite can make right now, is to try and move in there and tie these guys down. Now, Vislak's force is starting to run out of steam a little bit. Their numbers have been very, very heftily, sorely thinned out by the combined efforts here of Crimson Bahelite and Starling. But there's still just so many of them. It's an overwhelming number of javelins. Second wave now coming in with the Rudour warriors. Let's pop back on over to Starling's, or of Crimson's side, and see what's going on. And this is where it gets ugly. Another beautiful flanking movement here from Fluffy Duck and Vislak's team coming in from the rear with the Trollmen. Be interesting to see what they can do to stop them. We've got some Ranger units here, some Delupeng Yemenduir, who are tied in combat with the Noldoran Guard. Now, if they were not busy, they'd be in the perfect position to attack these Trollmen, but as it is right now, they are helpless. Helpless to do anything. So we got some javelins, some Faradrim jabs now out of ammunition, moving in to try and cover this side of Rudour's line. There are some Elven archers over here as well, so that might be enough to try and swing things in favor of Rudour, but it is going to be bloody for sure. Starling, on the other hand, really suffering quite badly. Looks like he's mobilized his companies of Hetheli Tower.
Only half the enemy force remains.
And they are doing pretty well against the Faradrim pikes here. Not Faradrim, the Forlindon pikes. So it looks like he's managing to turn the flank a little bit here. Now that these elite Elven units have been committed to the fray in the center, it seems like, for the most part, Vislak is actually... he's being beaten back. And honestly, I thought it was game over when I saw all of those javelins moving in on Starling's flank. But they're pulling it back. It really seems like they're pulling it back. Vislak still has local superiority in terms of infantry in this particular portion of the line, but how long is that going to last? Especially with those Elven units in the back, basically unmolested, free to do whatever it is that they want to do. Now Bahelite has brought over some cavalry as well, and one of the units of Elder Reavers has managed to escape destruction, so they're going to be able to just relentlessly pour fire into these Lindon Marines, or Mithlon Marines rather. I think we're gonna see a victor decided here very, very shortly. The Red 9 Pike standing up very, very nicely to the Hashari Shadows. I can never remember what the name convention is for the mounted and dismounted Hashari archers. But they're doing quite well at the moment at blowing a hole in this Rudour line, which is going to precipitate a collapse potentially, because once that part of the line falls, these Trollmen are going to be able to charge through that gap, get in behind the Faradrim Javelins, and slowly start to collapse this line. Over here, ooh, the Elven Archers in for a really bad time against some of these AP Pikes. Might get one last volley off before those Pikes are on top of them. Looks like they're going to be firing at the Hashari Shadows, who have low numbers and low armor. That's going to kill them all really fast. Look at that. Look at the smoking wreckage of about half the unit there in just as many, just a couple of seconds. Some Rudour Maidens here tossing their Javelin payloads into the Serpent Guard. That is going to hurt the Serpent Guard quite a lot. But it seems like cavalry superiority has been achieved here by the Haradrim with the support of one of their spear units. So I don't think we're going to see Rudour stick around for too much longer. Their lines have been breached. They're slowly being surrounded where they are strongest. It's looking ugly. Ooh, some of these Elven archers now out of ammo, still holding their bows, which is probably not supposed to happen. Looks like Vislak has managed to punch through. But there is still some supporting units over here that could be a really big problem for the remaining forces of Islak. So if Fluffy Duck, or not Fluffy Duck, if Starling and Crimson can manage to contain this and destroy the remaining forces of Islak in time in order to get over there and try and support Rudar while there's still some of their army left, they're definitely still in the game. But at the moment, it's looking like that might be tough. His Rangers now have disengaged themselves from the Noldoran Guard, and they're in a good position to strike back now. I think they're going to be firing into the rear. Well, they might be going after the Hashari Shadows. That is definitely a solid target. What do we got here? How are these Elven units doing? Against the Pikes? They might not do too poorly. Ooh, this Hashari Shadows having a real bad day. We hear these Rangers. I'm not too sure what the Rangers are firing at, but there's not too many targets. As many juicy targets, I suppose, on this end of the battlefield. Not that they have easy line of sight of. Hereditine Rangers now engaged in close quarters as well, probably out of ammunition, fighting against the Trollmen. There's enough Trollmen there, I think, to push through what remains of Rudar's infantry, unless those Elven Rangers can be brought to bear against them. And that's a big unless. What do we got over here? A few Noldoran Horse Lords left, getting themselves stuck in against some Spear Cavalry. Probably not going to go very well for them. What do we got over here? Some Elder Reavers. Hereditine, I forgot the Hereditine Nobles are still here. That is definitely an ace in the hole for Rudauer. If they turn them around and throw them against the Black Serpents and avoid getting charged in the rear, then they can definitely make the Haradrim pay very, very dearly in this kind of exchange. And that would be a good idea. Now is a good time to commit, I think, those Rudauer Knights, because look how open that flank is. They're going to be able to just pour fire in there as much as they need to. Although, I guess that's not going to be able to happen for too much longer now that the Lindon Rangers are now moving in on the Dunman Hunters. That war cry going up. Oh, got some lag. No one is allowed to crash. You get banned if you crash at this point in the game. I don't think Rudar is going to be able to last for too much longer. Although, surprisingly, they've almost won the infantry fight over here. They've really put the hurt on Fluffy Duck, although he does still have a fair amount of his not trash units, but chaff units. That's the one I wanted. Let's see. Has Vislak managed to be defeated? Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's actually really evened out over here. Yeah, this Hethleigh Tower just cutting down what remains of these few Lindon pikemen. If you can come in from the rear, might be able to rout these guys. That would be really nice for Starling at this point. His elite axes are going to destroy the Mythlon Marines. What do we got here? Those archers slowly losing ground against the Harladon infantry, as you would expect. Well, somebody else's general just went down. It might have been the Rudauer general. We did see his general's bodyguard getting constantly harangued. And what do you know? It is Crimson Behelit. Not looking good here. Some of these Dunman Hunters now fleeing. I think that's going to be it for Crimson Behelit's army. For Haradrim Jabs, however, they won't flee. No, they will stand and they will fight with the Trollmen for basically forever. Looks like Crimson Behelit might be trying to pull them out, but he's not going to get an opportunity. Fluffy's going to be on top of him. Let's get down and dirty with it. Yeah, the Haradrim are rallying, so it looks like Fluffy Duck's general's still up at this point, though it is in danger. What we got here? This is actually Rudauer cavalry. What do you know? Ooh, there's an opportunity here for these scouts to go after those Lindon Rangers. I think that's probably a good idea, because they are a dangerous melee unit. Let's see what we got here. Where did the knights go? Did they all die? Oh, it doesn't matter. Maidens charging into the rear of the Black Serpents. They're going to pull out just as quickly, having bitten off just a little bit more than they can chew. This is a really tempting target here from the rear. That's going to go right to their armor values, which are very, very low. Now the Elven Rangers, I think, now are breaking and fleeing as well. Very bloody over on this side, though. Like, this is a pile of corpses. This is a brand new boneyard. But ultimately, Harad's forces are going to come out on top here. I think we're going to have a new Discord champion. Oh. Yeah, from the front, they have enough melee defense, so they will actually be able to fend off the meager charge bonus of the Rudauer Maidens. And the rear charge from the Black Serpent is going to put the final nail in the coffin of the Rudara Cavalry, and that's going to be it. That is it. That is all. All these axes here finally having cleaned up. Now, if there was more of Starling's army left at this point, I would say they still had a chance, but no, there's far too many of the Herodrum. Are these javelins fleeing? Oh, I thought they were locked morale. Oh well, what do I know? Ooh, Hashari Shadows. Get themselves stuck in with some Elven jabs. Those are hybrid spearmen. And Hashari Shadows are duly going to pay the price. Now the real heavy hitters are here, though. Ooh, they're going to run right through the Tethly Tower. Ah, they even go for them. So I'm trying to bait the charge there a little bit. Manages to mitigate it somewhat. These elite axemen now moving around onto the flank, hoping to get a nice charge into the side of the Black Serpents. Looks like they still have some ammunition. Maybe they're going to go after Champions of Nafarat, perhaps. Well, if they kill the Herodrum General, maybe they could rout some of them. I don't think it's going to matter, though. Let's witness the final stand of these Woodland Realm units. Okay, now's my time. Now's my time to zoom in. Or to swoop in and steal the championship title. Ooh, some javelin volleys to the rear. Going to claim the lives of one of those Serpent bodyguards. Still very healthy, though. It's a drop in the bucket, really, at this late point in the game. There's like 20 or so of them left. It might as well be 1,000. Well, looks like those elite axemen just got run down. Oh, they're not even doing well in close quarters. They're just being attacked on all sides, basically. I can't even see them anymore. They've been obscured. There's just too many Serpent Guard and Black Serpent Bodyguard. I think we're going to see an admit defeat here pretty shortly.
Behold how our cowardly foe runs.
Well, I don't think my unit's going to be able to get over there, but let's take a moment and enjoy this. Look at this. This is a... Crimson is right. This was definitely a final-worthy battle. There are dead forces all over the place. Lindon's army is, for the most part, in tatters. The only thing they got left, really, is a unit of rangers that they stationed with the Herodrum. The Herodrum units, very, very thin on the ground at this point. Very, very thin on the ground, indeed. And that's going to be, yeah, it's going to be a good game. Definitely a worthy watch. Seize the means of production. I'd rather seize the memes of production. Yep, that's going to be it. I don't see any remaining woodland forces anywhere unless Starling has, like... Unless Starling has some hidden units. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to admit defeat. The crowd here very much pleased. This Colosseum crowd. They came out for blood, and blood is what they got. Look at that. Look at the size of that army. Just bear in mind just how large their armies were in the beginning as well. Very, very even. Let's see just how many kills everybody got. Crimson Behelit racking up the most kills in the game. Everyone else fell around the 1,300 to 1,400 range. So it was a very even game, but ultimately it was the just masses of Herodrum infantry that was quite hard for Behelit to deal with. He had a lot of cavalry, and Herat had a lot of spears, and that it went about as well as you would expect, I think, for many of those cavalry units. But that's going to be it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save that. Let's see. It's the 22nd today. There you go. And I'll be doing a version of that on my channel as well. So if you guys are interested in looking at kind of my second take on this video, then by all means take a look at my channel. I think you can find all of my information and things like that down below in the like the description. What'd you call the description? I don't know. I'm not familiar with Twitch, but it's down below. You guys can find it. You're all capable of doing that for yourselves. But notice my donation. Did you donate like 3 cents to me, Joey? Oh, thank you so much. What do I know? Yeah, I sure hope you know, Mr. I don't know everything. 3 cents? I don't know. I didn't see it. If it was more than 3 cents, thank you very much. Anything like less than 3 cents, fuck you. Aw, $2.50. Thanks, buddy. That's awesome. I will buy a coffee and I will think of you. Well, that's gonna be it for the tournament. I hope you guys have enjoyed this so far. I'm gonna take off now, and I'll see you guys later.